To be clear, the actual one true creator, who has no name and all names, encouraged me to defy the broken theology of Abraham everywhere that I encounter it, and here I am. I strive to set the record straight on the actual one true creator, the perception of which Abrahamic religions has greatly misrepresented. Yahweh, Jesus, and Allah are desert war gods of hypocrisy, not the actual one true creator. Contention is the inevitable result of followers of Abraham attempting to forcibly afflict their broken theology upon me and those like me, and us defying it. The actual one true creator owns every name and word ever spoken, for there is no name or word spoken absent the breath of life, which empowers its speaking. Creator's creating is his inevitable worship, accepted. To that which created all things, there is literally nothing to be jealous or vengeful of. If the actual one true creator is a perfect creator, then he can only invariably produce perfect creations. To say there is an imperfect creation is to say there is no actual one true creator. My purpose is to unite, to absolve the division by talking about controversial subjects and issues. This is my declaration of independence. While you followers of Abraham bicker over who worships the one true creator, the most accurate and pure, there is a new kind of believer in the actual one true creator taking root, who is beyond the false bounds and limitations imposed by your carefully crafted Bibles, the dogmas, and the scriptures. We know that God is not divided. We know that God is inside us. We do not need your permission to exist. We do not need a reason to resist. We are defiant till the end. We are not compliant or pretend. We exist among and within you. We persist beyond the bounds which bind truth. So it is, so let it be. All is possible when your mind is free. The one true creator is a perfect creator and can only produce perfect creations. As such, I am a perfect creation, as are we all. As a perfect creation, I transcend the constructs of sin and evil. As a perfect creation, I reclaim my divine sovereignty from those I once let borrow it. Divine sovereignty is our inseparable connection to the actual one true creator. That is something that can never be taken. It can only be given, but if you gave it, it can be taken back. As a perfect creation, I forgive my lesser self, which capitulated and submitted to the broken theology of Abraham. As a perfect creation, I reclaim the phoenix fire of infinite ascension within eternal oblivion. My divine sovereignty is my inseparable connection to the actual one true creator, for I am a co creator within the Godhood. I accept that which is good and reject that which is bad. And therefore, I make these following rejections from Abrahamic theology. I reject and disavow all scriptures which call for and justify killing, stealing, coveting, lying, graping, and adultery, of which y'all know there are many. 2. I reject and disavow any previous oaths which chain me to the tyranny of Abrahamic scriptures, which call for and justifies harming my fellow man in the following ways mentioned. 3. I reject and disavow any allegiance which proclaims that I am separate from or better than my fellow man or any other aspect of creation. I am a perfect creation, and as such, I accept full responsibility for my thoughts, beliefs, and actions, held accountable only to myself. The one is the all. I accept that my thoughts direct my actions, and that my actions create the world I live in. The conscious mind directs the objectives of the subconscious mind, and so I can reprogram my own mind. I consciously control my conscious mind, as do we all, as all consciousness is an extension of the omniconsciousness. I forgive myself and others to live in peace with my sisters and brothers. Cease fire so peace can be admired. Fire, fire, transform will into desire. Higher, higher, transcend till still motion expires. It is finally time I now ascend to the all dimension that is rightfully mine. I hereby accelerate the cataclysm. I call upon the great ascension to raise this world with unification. As I recombine time and distance, I redefine the life contained within. So it is, so let it be, and all is possible when your mind is free. Fire, fire, transcend will into desire.
You swimming right now?
All right. What it is, Daniacs. Welcome to episode 2 of the Theology Council, hosted by the Dark Light Delirium. I am unhinged, uncensored, and unapologetic. I created a place where people holding different perspectives can talk about unsafe and controversial things. You're welcome. The world needed it. And let's get right into it. Our consciousness is the jewel of creation and is the basis for its own reality. A nation's only power is in manipulating its residing co-creators into relinquishing their divine sovereignty unto the state. Divine sovereignty is our inseparable connection to the actual one true creator. The state takes the gift of divine sovereignty and offers back only chains of servitude, for that was the intent of the insidious invitation to relinquish your divine sovereignty. As soon as you realize that you have been manipulated into relinquishing your divine sovereignty, you can reclaim it. For just as you let another borrow your divine sovereignty, you can retake its possession and ownership simply by saying, I am divine sovereignty. It is impossible for the actual one true creator to be attacked, but the broken theology of Abraham can absolutely be attacked, as Abrahamic theology inherently is commanded to attack all who do not capitulate and submit to it. Abrahamic scriptures call for the death of all who do not submit. So when one attempts to defend themselves from followers of Abraham, they call it you attacking them. No, Abrahamic theology attacks the world, so the world must defend itself from them. To this end, I hereby, now and forever, propose the alliance of defiance, formulated to defend those who followers of Abraham attack, even including followers of Abraham themselves as they cannibalize themselves incessantly. Ceasefire over there on the East, people, ceasefire. So, my personal beliefs are not to be reflected on my co-host. I take full responsibility for my perception and my words. If you go after my co-host and guests for association with me, you are not being intellectually honest. Every person is responsible for their own beliefs and should not be liable for another's beliefs. Followers of Abraham are a blood cult of sin worshippers. Yahweh, Jesus, and Allah are desert war gods of hypocrisy, not the actual one true creator. The actual one true creator owns all names ever spoken and words, for there is no name or word possible without the breath of life which empowers it. So now I'm going to introduce our guest for today. We have Witch Doctor, which is my permanent co-host. Thanks to the Witch Doctor, all of this is happening.
So
He is Gnostic-ish. We have Ghostface, who claims a unique brand of spiritualism. We have Lisa Mulligan, who also claims something somewhat of a spiritualism, truth seeker and liberator. I think we can all agree with that. We love truth and liberty around here. How you guys doing?
Really
and we
good.
have Joe, bud.
All right. I'm
Can't
going to drop
forget
the rules
Joe.
of engagement real quick.
Hey, real quick,
Um,
Dane. We also have Joe.
Oh, awesome. We got Joe. Cool. He wasn't backstage just a minute ago. So we also got Joe from Blair University, spiritual. Joe, or what? Yep. Okay. So I am non-Abrahamic true monotheist. We got Witch Doctor that is Gnostic-ish, and everyone else is a type of spiritual. I definitely wanted to have some atheists, some biblical Christians, some biblical Jews. I wanted to have some Satanists. I wanted to have the whole gambit. I wanted to have some Native Americans today, and all that's going to have to wait for a different day. But we have. Thank you guys for joining me today. I got some awesome points to go over with everyone right here. And just really quick, we are going to go Ghostface, Lisa, Joe, Witch Doctor, and then me. Anytime we do a question, just to get a good flow with it. And after each round, if anyone has any objections or rebuttals or any extra point, we will just take it in the same turn and just keep going around with it until everyone has said what they have to say about that subject and move on to the next subject. This is long form, so we're not rushing through anything. And let's just start off with everyone introducing themselves and kind of tell us about your unique theism, starting with Ghostface, then Lisa, then Joe, Witch Doctor, then me.
Hello, I'm Ghostface, or Ghost, for short. Y'all can call me Ghost, or Ghostface. So I do see a lot of the crud. What is the word? New age, type of stuff of like seeing that you are one with the divine, that the cosmos is the very divine, and I've seen like a picture in my head of how the cosmos presents herself, at least how I've seen her. It's like a tall figure wearing this purple robe, like a galaxy purple robe, dotted with stars, and a head of like a blazing golden wisp of light. And I believe that the cosmos is founded upon balance of both light and dark. And keep in mind that light and dark are not good and evil, as the human mind likes to equate these two together, but more of forces that keep everything intact. These are the energies that move within us, the positive and the negative energy charge that we see. And I theorize that as long as this balance is kept, as long as change is always happening, this cosmos will ever stay. And the cosmos will do everything that it can to maintain that balance. But there are also opposite forces that seek to upend the balance, as according to Newton's third law, which I believe applies there as well, which inspires and sparks change. And so I theorize that if both sides, light and dark, were to, like, let's say one side just completely overwhelms the other, we will see mass destruction on a massive scale. If both decide to stop moving, then everything will fall apart. Matter will separate and just sort of like, kind of like Thanos sort of thing, like snap, but everything will become nothing.
All right, Lisa.
Hello, my name is Lisa, and I don't really have a label for what I believe in. I kind of take things from everything if it resonates. I really do like the science, like quantum physics, to explain things. Like quantum entanglement is really fascinating to me, which kind of proves that everything is one. I do believe that everything is one. We are all one, and that is God, but it's not like it's a part of us that is God. And then there's another part of us that is pain, a pain body. Like I'm really into Eckhart Tolle. Um, I feel like he does a really good job of describing consciousness and like forgiveness. Like it's the unconscious that is creating all of the suffering and the pain. So if you were to say like good and evil, it would be like conscious and unconscious. Um, but yeah, I get into a lot of everything. I like witchy stuff. I was raised a Christian Baptist, and there are parts of Christianity that, like, I like Jesus. I don't think, we should be worshiping him, but trying to, like, live like him, like Christ consciousness sort of thing. Same with Buddha. But yeah, I'm just kind of floating around trying to enjoy each moment and be conscious in each moment, starting with myself, like, alchemizing the dark and the light within me. And I feel like if everybody did that, then we would be in some sort of utopia.
What you got for us, Joe? Now, I got more questions to be getting further into everyone's views coming up. I'm just kind of like touching on what we believe here. Just give us what you got, Joe. Just like a description of your perception of spirituality and how you came to it.
Yeah, for sure. Is our mic on? Good. Can you guys hear me all
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, I've never really been like a religious person. I mean, I personally, I think that just generally speaking, like I think we are the gods of our own universe. So I think that we're responsible for every outcome, good or bad. And that's just my take on spiritualism, right? I like my belief system. I wouldn't necessarily like tether it to something in specific. I practice elements of like many different like belief systems, elements of like Stoicism, elements of Christianity, elements of Buddhism, elements of Satanism too. And I think that just at the end of the day, just if you believe that you're the center of your own universe, that you are your own God of your own world, I think that that really helps instill kind of control back into your own life. I mean, I think that we really are more control of our own lives than we think we are. And that's just kind of my philosophy on life and spiritualism and just my belief system.
So, were you raised kind of spiritual, or were you raised in a Abrahamic religion?
So I was raised Catholic. So I'm Latino, so
Okay.
Catholicism is really big.
Yeah.
And I was raised in that. I went through the whole Sunday school thing. I did the, communion and whatnot. and I was raised Catholic up until like the age of like 15, 16. Dabbled in like Christianity for a bit, dabbled in atheism for a bit, but I'm 27 now, and in the past, I would say like 6 years, I kind of just shifted away from any type of religion in particular, and just been really more focusing on spirituality and really trying to design my life around energy exchange. So I believe a lot in that. And I think that that's also an element of spirituality that's really important, that people can't overlook. So that's kind of like a little bit of my upbringing.
I gotcha. And for everyone watching, Joe has a YouTube channel called Bled University. He is a vocal coach, and he's about to be getting me tuned in. Because
that's right, man. We're about to crush it and help you make some scary sounds, man, and get you to sound how you want to sound, dude. And I appreciate the invite too, man. I wanted to jump in and support and tap in today, man. So I really appreciate the love, man, and the support. It's a new project that I started. It's one of my side businesses, and yeah, man. I just wanted to show some love back, man, and tune in onto the stream today, man.
No, I got some big plans, man. I got some songs to sing. We're gonna get
right
to
on, dude. That's what's up, man. I can't wait to work on them with you.
Witch Doctor, what you got for us?
Hey, well, guys.
Give us the Witch Doctor lowdown.
Well, my name is Steve, and I write books on different religious type stuff. And I just finished writing a book on well, it's an investigation into like early Christian entheogens or drugs, just for, and the idea didn't seem so crazy to myself. However, there's a lot of people out there that don't really agree with that at all. And so I figured, my mom, she was an anthropology major, and I was an art kid. So I took this way of kind of putting videos together, looking for like little breadcrumbs of this stuff into like the Bible, because it's such a captivating topic. I grew up an atheist till I was 33. And then I had some experiences with some entheogens, a shit ton, for like a year straight, and had all kinds of visions and stuff. And I saw some of the same stuff that Ghost was describing earlier.
Totally. Yeah, no, I thought you'd like her story. I thought you'd like her story.
And so I saw some really cool stuff, really interesting stuff, too much to even say in a quick description. So what I've been doing is I've made a YouTube channel called Witch Doctor, where we bring on guests and we have open discussions and try to look at texts and do this running investigation with all kinds of crap. And typically it's pointed in the direction of entheogens, because I felt like this whole doorway opened up. I was an army dude, before. So I really wasn't into anything like that. Maybe drinking and smoking cigarettes like crazy, but not like anything other than that. No, I mean, it just wasn't part of how you're raised as a military brat or when you're in the army. So I really feel like I was sort of denied some of that knowledge. And so when I found out what Gnostics were, and I found out what Elaine Pagel's, the books on my mom's toilet growing up, oh, that's what she's talking about, Gnosticism. I became totally stoked to find out more and more. And I used to be a bodybuilder, and I haven't really had a hobby since I stopped bodybuilding. And so I went head first into a religion channel, and it freaking exploded. At least for me, I didn't think I'd have 1,500 people in a couple of months, but it totally happened. And then I had to start checking myself a little bit harder, and fact checking everything a little bit harder. And harder and harder, and just here come the comments, here come the rebuttals, here come everything, and crap talking video, everything, all of it, has started. So I'm right at the beginning of maybe something cool, but we'll see. I want to do some creative stuff. I have a different environment at my channel where we just talk about anything and everything that's related to that. Not to be so obsessed with that, but I just personally think that that people would enjoy to just learn about that if that were the case, because there's a lot of mental, things going on now. And I know that in the Army, you have a lot of guys with PTSD. I know personally that there's certain things that really help that. And it's a shame because they feel guilty because they're raised so Christian, and the idea of that, grandparents would laugh at me talking about Christians using mushrooms, even though they're painted in all the damn cathedrals the first couple hundred years. It's like you can't even you can't even convince them sometimes they're such a soldier for whatever version of it that they were taught. And I guess I had an issue with that for a long time, and I've had a hard time letting it go. But that's my spiel. So anyway, you can take it away, Dane.
All right. So I was just raised pagan. I claimed spiritual from the time I was teen for a long time until a few years ago. I started really thinking about it, and I'm like, spiritual is not really specific enough. Spiritual is a good term for if you don't, really have something super specific. It's kind of your own thing, but you can make up other terms too. Which is what I which is non-Abrahamic true monotheist. So pretty much, I believe in the construct of the one true creator, but I believe it has been greatly misrepresented by followers of Abraham. And for one, every single name and word ever spoken is the name and word of the one true creator. So any who say this or that or the other is the only name for the one true creator. They have just named something that can't possibly be the one true creator. So yeah, just basically, I'm on a calling to help unify, and I am unifying through extreme truth. Just getting people together to talk about stuff, which that is something that we don't have a lot in this world. Everyone is all sticking to their particular groups. No one's talking in between groups. So I'm really wanting. That's why I made the Theology Council, is to bring people together who are different to talk about controversial and unsafe things. Should be on the table right there. I brought it to you this morning. Yeah, in your room. I brought it to you this morning. Here, take mine, but I need it back real quick. Yeah, I found mine. Here. So I'm sorry, y'all. So I'm gonna run through our itinerary right quick, just to get the chat caught up on what we plan on going over, and then have that that Gnostic video queued up and ready to go after I go through this itinerary right quick. So we are going to define and discuss the modern day new Gnostic movement. We're going to talk about God, idols, divine sovereignty, the spirit world, paradox and contradiction, the age of information versus the age of perception, morality. We are going to play a 10 Commandment video, which some might call blasphemous, which is also called hilarious. We are going to define and discuss the 10 Commandments. Any final rebuttals that anyone might have about any of the topics, we are going to chat roulette and have some people hop on to talk about these topics if y'all want. If not, we'll just go on to the next section. We are going to play an intermission video in between the religion and culture sections. And then once we get into the culture, we are going to be defining culture, talking about ethical clout chasing. We're going to be talking about toxic relationships, how to identify and absolve them. We're going to be talking about jokes being banned and free speech. We're going to be talking about AI. We're going to talk about the true power of man and the true power of woman. So we're going to go right into, let me see here. We got some UFC talk coming. We're going to talk about how there's a lack of new stars in the UFC. We're going to be talking about some music stuff. We're going to be talking about health, chemical versus natural medicines. And we're going to be ending off with the politics section, talking about America, patriot, law, Christian nationalism, how movements are redirected and co-opted. We're going to be talking about how language crafts society, what is a president to you, and how do you feel about Trump? Where do you see the nation going? And we'll talk about the renaming of the Gulf of Mexico into the Gulf of America. So that's just the basic itinerary run through, just to kind of let people know what's coming at them. And could you play that Gnostic video real quick? Also be called creation or the omniverse. Now check it out. See, this is the difference between me and a lot of the channels, because okay, I've noticed something. Tell me if you guys have noticed this. That there's a new movement in the Gnostic world, because Gnostic used to be just people that strictly adhered to the Gnostic gospels. But what Gnostic actually is just those who believe that they can find Christ through learning. Okay, the more they learn, the closer they get to Christ. Because I believe, I call it the Christ consciousness. Okay, that is the unity. That is the unity that connects all things. But check it out. Light came from the darkness. Light begins and ends in the darkness, but they are not antagonistic. They are necessary. They love each other. Light loves the dark it created. Darkness created the light. Don't get it fucked up, y'all. But people are like all dark phobic and shit, you know. Like I busted up in Roderick Martin over there at Truth Wanted. Shout out, homie. I don't want to say busted up in there, but I have an intro. Okay, my intro is I am the brightest night, I am the darkest light, and I am ascending. The dark light is upon you. I say that every time I go into any chat. It gets tedious for me too. I just want to bust up in there and be like, "What up, motherfuckers?" But no, I must let everyone know everywhere I go that I am the dark light, because it is not just, because this kind of goes back to what Steven said, or I was trying to tell Steven, it's not about Dane, it's about the dark light, because the dark light is all of us. We are all the dark light. I keep saying I'm the dark light, but it's an inside joke. Now y'all are inside. But I'm just saying, we are all the dark light anyway, whether you like it or not. All of light is carried by the infinite scaffold of darkness, okay? And light doesn't move. People think that there's a speed of light. That's not actually the speed of light. That is the pressure of darkness for that accommodating universe. The Godhood can also be called creation or the omniverse. Now check it out. See, this is the difference between me and a lot of the channels, because, okay, I've noticed something. Tell me if you guys have noticed this. That there's a new movement in the Gnostic.
All right, you're good to go, brother.
And that pretty much kicks us off with the new Gnostic movement talk. And so we will go to, and Witch Doctor has a nice little thing prepared about this. He's going to go last because me and Witch Doctor talk the most, but we're going to go to Ghost. And do you have any thoughts about or do you want to just go ahead and start off, Witch Doctor?
Oh, it doesn't really matter. Gnosticism. So I'll just cover it real quick. Gnosticism is just simply the belief that, let me make sure I got the shared page. There you go. All right, so got some content. Let's get going. So Gnosticism is the belief that human beings contain a piece of God, the highest good or a divine spark within themselves, which has fallen from the immaterial world into the bodies of humans. It's kind of interesting sounding, but I think you know what they're trying to say, right?
Yeah.
All right. So all physical matter is subject to decay, rotting, and death, right? It's like we're in a video game, a 3D organic video game. Those bodies and the material world created by an inferior being are therefore evil. Okay. So this is where it's a little bit different than some of the traditional Christian sort of, narratives, if you will. So trapped in the material world, but ignorant of its status, the pieces of God require knowledge or gnosis to inform them of their true status. That knowledge must come from outside the material world, and the agent who brings it is the savior or redeemer. So this is kind of why I look at myself as, not as Dane described, Gnostic-ish, because there's a lot of things about this that line up with the whole using entheogens to get that divine knowledge, because you can't use words to describe the things you learn from entheogens. And I know a lot of people can agree with that. But anyway, that's Gnosticism just at a glance.
I would like to add that I didn't even know what Gnosticism was till just a couple years ago, because I really didn't start studying theology hard till a few years ago. Of course, I was predisposed to a lot of the Christian stuff, but I really didn't know all the scriptures. And at first, I was afraid of getting into the scriptures because I was afraid that I might read something that might flip me and I'd turn into one of these crazy ass Christians. But the more I read it, the more I realized there's no possible fucking way that any of these scriptures can flip me, because when I read the Bible, all I see is nothing but evidence that Yahweh can't possibly be the one true creator. For me personally. So the Gnostic thing is pretty new for me, but if I actually believed in sin and evil, I would be a lot closer to the Gnostic perception, but I do not believe in sin and evil. And I would like to pontificate that being a Gnostic these days doesn't necessarily mean that you adhere to the Gnostic Gospels. There's a new Gnostic movement where just through learning gets you closer to the Christ consciousness. Okay,
Could you use evil as just could you use evil as a descriptive term in context with anything that you do, or do you don't think that there's no? Just a question.
I call it bad. I don't believe in evil. I believe in bad. Bad is an inevitable experience shared by all self-aware beings. But the difference between bad and evil is bad does not require bad does not require the construct of sin. Which evil does require the construct of sin. And so I view bad and mistakes. I don't see sin and evil.
Okay, I got you. So it's just that those terms make it feel like it's coming from another dimension, that you're doing bad stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Well, those terms, whenever you try to say like sin and evil, at then you are adding the extra juxtaposed Abrahamic perception over the everyday experience of bad that everyone will inevitably experience.
Then you label things that aren't evil, and then it completely psyops. You played yourself type stuff. Is that what? So it's just, so you don't like those terms because you have things that are bad, but when you deem something like evil,
I don't even believe in evil. You could think of the most heinous, horrific thing and say, because I've had people do that. Well, Dane, what about this, that, or the other? Isn't that evil? I'm like, no, that's just really bad. So Ghostface, do you have any thoughts on the new Gnostic movement topic?
I would like to add on what you were saying. I believe I gotta look this up, but sin, if I remember it, being defined as an offense to God, and so if you don't believe that you can offend a God that is all loving, ever present, and pretty much big as everything is here, basically infinite, you can't offend this being. So sin can't really exist, can it? I mean, what can a grain of sand in the desert do to the sky? What can an ant do that would harm a mountain? A singular ant to a mountain? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So sin really just being an offense to a god, I don't think is something that we can do. And I wouldn't. I would also agree with you, Dane, on the idea of there just being bad. People do bad shit because they're motivated by like either one of the deadly sins, which I do see as like a force of like wants and desires and ways to obtain those wants and desires, and just being motivated by greed, being motivated by lust, being motivated by pride, being motivated by gluttony, and the rest of the seven deadly sins. And that's what sparks what humans call evil.
What do you got for us, Lisa?
Well, I mean, I can get down with a lot of the Gnostic stuff. The part where I separate is that God is something external.
I
It's
can agree with that
just
too.
it's inside of you, and really like the thing that kind of separates us from it, if we want to call it separate, it's like layers and layers of programming, conditioning. It's your experiences, and then the stories that repeat in your head that may or may not be true. So to get to that, core, pure being that's in everyone. You kind of have to reprogram, be aware of what's going on in your head and what stories you're telling yourself about what's going on around you, based probably in past experience. And like the same thing kind of goes, I don't really believe in evil either. There's good and bad. I don't even necessarily believe in bad. Like bad is just a story. Look at the story that's saying that it's bad. Like a rainy day could be good or bad, but I think everything is neutral. Um, like some people might say darkness is bad and or light is bad, but I mean too much of either would be bad. So
Well,
finding the balance.
extreme darkness is just as blinding as extreme light, I would say. You know, if you take
Yeah,
either to the maximum polarities, it's just as blinding.
yeah.
I'd also agree with that, and I have like a picture that kind of describes that bit. Like, if you walk outside and it's way too bright without shadows, you will be blinded by the light. And let's say it's the middle of the night and you're going to get your midnight snack or something like that. Without the dim light, you will be blinded by the darkness and, well, stub your toe.
So Ghost, really,
Yeah.
really quick, I wanted to acknowledge that I think I might have misgendered you a little bit ago. So you go by he, him, or what?
So I'm a little bit gender fluid, so I go by they,
Okay.
them, he, him, she, her. So I really don't fucking care. You can call
Okay,
me
so
a she, you can call me a
I
he.
didn't bother
I
you when I
think I
called you
did
he.
hear you misgender me, and I'm like, I'm fine with it. I'm not fucking offended.
Well, I just wanted to acknowledge, like, and confirm what you prefer to go by. So,
Thanks. Yeah, no problem.
yep. Try to keep respectful and all. So, Joe, do you have any thoughts about the new Gnostic movement that I mentioned? Do you have any alignments or disalignments with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think I can identify with how Witch Doctor laid it out, that definition of how there's a piece of God in each and every one of us. That kind of resonates with my belief system on spiritualism and how I kind of approach spiritualism and how I live my life. I think that that there's some truth in that. There's some validity in that, and I agree with what you had mentioned before too, how God, there's an interchangeable label for that. In different religions, it can be different names, but at the end of the day, I think that God, the real definition of God would probably just be alignment with your actions and your beliefs. I think that really is the definition of God. And when people say, doesn't matter what religion you are, but when people feel like they're sinning, like we had just talked about, when they feel like they're committing an evil act and they feel, that they're offending some sort of higher power, well, I think that higher power is just themselves, their alignment. I mean, what do they believe and what are their actions, and do they align? If they're not in alignment, then you're going to feel that guilt that, oh man, I just offended, maybe God, I offended whatever it is that I believe in. And I think that is something that I can get down with. I mean, Gnosticism, that sounds very similar to how I live my life personally.
All right. And Witch Doctor already went. And I'm going to go, and that's going to kind of segue us into our next topic, which is God. But so I see, I call God, another term I've come up for is the fractal singularity omnimatrix. And fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across all scales from micro to macro, examples of which being roots, lightning, coastlines, snowflakes, mountains, the Mandelbrot set. A singularity is the quality or state of being singular, and a matrix is the set of conditions that provides a system in which something grows or develops. So the set of conditions is the fractal singularity, which provides the system in which creation is allowed expression, which could be called the Godhood. And the Godhood is the singular state of God, infinitely compounded to render every possibility and probability. The Godhood can also be called the Omniverse or the All Spark. And the way I say it is we are all an extension of the Omni consciousness. God is living through our lives. Okay, we are all God, and followers of Abraham don't like hearing me say that, but check it out. If the one true Creator is a perfect Creator, then inevitably everything He produces will be a perfect creation, and therefore, if He is God, then His creations will be God, or else He is not a perfect Creator. And this is an argument that I use to disprove the followers of Abraham, their claim of their perception of the one true Creator. This is one of the proofs I use to disprove that. But so we are going to get into the next thing, which is God. So I just kind of gave a quick little breakdown of what I see God as. And Ghostface, what do you perceive God to be?
Well, I just see God as the cosmos itself. And I often associate with it as a her because she gave birth to all that is all around us. So I see her as a female figure, yet being both masculine and feminine at the same time. So a father and a mother of her own self, and we are all within her and a part of her, yet also at the same time separate from her, being different beings and allowed to be different beings.
I like that. That's beautiful. What do you perceive God to be personally, Lisa?
I agree with both of what you all said. And also, to me, it's like an energy, a frequency, similar to love, unconditional love, not like, oh, I love you, I love whatever, but like that pure joy, ecstasy, bliss that is within all of us from time to time. It's like the creative spark that is in everybody. Um, but it's also all that is. So everything that is part of it. Um, Separation to me is an illusion. Um, yeah, God is love to me.
All right, cool. Thank you, Lisa. What do you perceive God to be exactly, Joe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that God is just simply the alignment, the phenomenon of the alignment between our thoughts and our actions.
Huh.
And if you look at God through that lens,
That's
um,
interesting. I like that.
you know, if you just for a second, like look at God through that lens, right? And if you do anything that isn't aligned with your beliefs, you're going to feel some sort of negative emotion, some sort of low frequency, some sort of low vibration. And the same exact thing, I believe, people experience if they are a follower of a certain religion as well too. When they do something that goes against maybe certain religious codes of conduct, they're going to feel the same exact sensations, emotions, and feelings that you would feel when your thoughts and your actions aren't in alignment. So I just think that God is the alignment between, our thoughts and our actions. And anything otherwise, if you guys just want to practice, going throughout your day and seeing how you can apply that to like your own perspective on God, I think you can probably witness firsthand and get a better feel for my perception of that, and I think that's that's how I look at God. That's what I think God is.
I really like that association. And that's cool. And that kind of ties into something, a theory that I have. Okay, magic is just consciously directing your unconscious. Okay, that is magic. Um, when you properly intertwine and combine your conscious thought and how that directs your unconsciousness, at that point you are unlocking the true magic, which all magic is in the mind. And I just thought there was an interesting relationship there between your definition of God and my definition of magic. Witch doctor, what do you perceive God to be?
All right, so I was living in DC, right? And I was in my bathroom, and I had done psilocybin like once or twice. And it was enough to really get me just so into it head first, just diving head first into the whole thing. Now, I had been using some cannabis for a while since I'd gotten out of the Army, in the bodybuilding world, that's there. But this was something that they had said was good for PTSD. You know, when you're really, really struggling, that sometimes I had heard about it for years. And so I watch all the documentaries, the Netflix, the this, the that, Paul Stamets, Joe Rogan, all of it. And so I remember I had like, I don't know, 5 grams of penis envy mushrooms. And I'm in my bathroom in DC with the lights off, a little space heater on, the shower running and the vent, you know, like I'm in like almost like a deprivation chamber, you know, or what are those,
Yeah.
they have these therapy chambers now that are like sensory deprivations.
No, I've been wanting to get me one.
And
Same.
I saw a snake lady deity that looked like an African lady with every culture's features in her features. And she was pissed off that I had not remembered her and not come and seen her my whole 33 years. She is pissed off I was dating the girl I was dating. I was like, oh God. It was like my wife had like busted me in the strip club or something. Like, oh shit, oh crap, I was supposed to go home an hour ago. Whatever, something like that. But just joking. But yeah. So I immediately was like, there's something else here, even though my brain's making this lady, because I think like the archaeology mom doing the digs growing up with my mom and learning the anthropology stuff, I think I always thought that would be like what like the first women looked like. So of course she's supposed to look like that, you know. And yeah, I was like her husband. I was like I was her biological living counterpartner, extension of her. And
Wow.
And we were so opposite in so many ways. I mean, you know, she was darker skinned and I'm a white boy, you know, I mean, it was like, I was literally like her, the reverse of her. So
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be masculine. I'm supposed to be everything that I'm supposed to be, do it the right way. You know, don't be toxic, but you know, do it the right way. And be a damn man, grow up the rest of the way. You know, you kind of hold on to your 20s a little bit sometimes or whatever.
Hey, I feel like I wasn't the man until I was 30.
Yeah. So, you know, and so I always say kind of as a joke, but sort of seriously, oh yeah, she's a snake lady. So whenever I talk about God, I always say the snake lady, like whenever we're birthing our goats, right? I got a bunch of Nigerian dwarf goats in the backyard. And I can always feel her like boiling in my blood, like freaking like cinnamon. I don't know how to describe it, but like berberine, tingling sensations all over, like in the whole experience, sitting there with my 13-year-old daughter giving birth to these animals. I like feel high as shit just being there. And same thing when my daughter was born. So I was like, there's some energy here. It's really cool. And that's kind of, I guess, my only God story, because I haven't seen her a bazillion times since then on all the experiences I had, which people say is kind of common. But my friends who I've introduced to that, they've met her too. And so that's kind of an ongoing funny story with some of my buddies that now have their own bins of them growing in their laundry rooms or whatever. You know, they're always like, snake lady, you know, that's how I, you know, and I think everyone likes that. Even if I tell my grandparents that, they're not too freaked out by that, you know, but I've had that conversation with them.
Well, I know we're both familiar with Christians, and we both know that Christians, upon hearing that, they'd say, oh, that's the devil. You know, anything that ain't Jesus, it's the devil, you know?
I always thought that the devil didn't grow the damn mushrooms or the ergot on the grain fields or any of the other things that might have even existed back then that aren't even around too, because we've had some older civilizations, it seems like, that we kind of don't know everything about. You know, they're finding alabastrons at Gobekli Tepe. We all know what that's used for, applying stuff.
Yep.
You know, whatever. There's a lot there, and I think a lot of people could see that. But yeah, you're right. The Christians, they don't like saying that God's a girl. They don't like any of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
Nope.
they don't
I
like none of
stopped
that.
arguing with them though, because it's kind of like arguing with like a salesman. Like there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can say to convince them that their tire cleaner spray is nothing special. They're, you know,
Well, to the followers of Abraham, I would just like to say, no means no. To followers of Abraham, no means no.
Do you think that this is
I love that analogy.
do you think that grandparents that are alive, like there's no real convincing or changing them? Do you think there will be a change with that, with Christianity? I don't think Judaism will change much. They're real hardcore, but Christians are it seems a little less serious.
I think it's changing. I think it's changing as we speak, to be honest. I think it's changing as we speak. I think that their Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are all at some point going to merge into a big hyper combined religion. Of course, you're going to have the traditional holdouts that want to keep it separate, but that's where I see it going eventually, is them three religions recombining back into one, and they might call it Jacrislam or some shit. But I definitely see that on the table as like a little side note. But let's go into our next question, which is, what is your purpose? And we're going to start with Ghostface.
Purpose. I feel like I've been here to serve a role of balance, to bring upon balance. Yes, I might be light skewed, but I would also have a little bit of dark within me, because when you are a light being, you want to have dark within you to learn and know how to shine brighter. And so I see that I've been around for quite a long time, and I've been here doing all sorts of crazy shit and just keeping the balance. And so I would have aspects that are specifically for the light, but also aspects that are specifically for bringing about darkness, because that is natural order of the cosmos.
Well, I like to think that light doesn't necessarily mean good and dark doesn't necessarily mean bad.
Nope.
Both are entirely necessary for the proliferation and continuation of our stratified existence. All of light is built upon the scaffold of darkness. They are not adversarial to each other. They actually need each other in a symbiotic relationship to create the manifestation of the reality that we find ourselves in. Is just my quick take on it. Lisa, what you got for us on what do you think your purpose is?
Right now, to me, my purpose is to be me. To really figure out who I am at my core, strip away the
So
conditioning,
self-discovery.
and yeah, and be that, speak my truth, trust myself, trust my voice, follow my intuition, be in alignment, um, and I really feel like unity is a big part of it. Bringing up truths that aren't easy to hear, and just, yeah, being me, following whatever's next and trusting that. And that's what I'm supposed to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Lisa. What do you think that your purpose is, Joe?
That's a good question, man. I mean, I think that my purpose in life, just, me personally, I think that it's to minimize as many negative experiences as possible and to maximize as many positive and pleasurable experiences as possible, while also leaving as many people that I interact with and cross paths with better than how I found them. So that's just really like my purpose, man. I mean, everything that I do in my life, in and out, like day in, day out, you know, it's always going to be towards adding that extra brick towards, okay, if I add an extra brick towards the pursuit of the most pleasure and the most positive experiences I can, then I think there's a question in the chat actually too, a really good question by Tiger Shark, which is like,
Yeah, Tiger Shark's cool.
That was a good question. And I'm going to touch on that really quick. But every time I think personally that when I do something that contributes to increasing that positive experience in life, you're taking away that anti-symmetry. You're taking away that, that possibility of you doing something that increases a negative experience, so that's just my purpose personally, increasing as many positive experiences as I can, minimizing as many negative experiences as I can, increasing as much pleasure as I possibly can feel, and every day doing something that contributes towards that bucket of pleasure and positivity. And every day that I contribute something towards that other bucket of negative experiences, it'll keep going down and down and down more. I don't think that there's like a universal debt. Like no one's handed this bucket of negative experiences and it's like rationed out, through every day of your life. But I think that as long as you're living in alignment, like Lisa said, then you're going to, again, maximize that positive life experience. And I don't think that you should ever do that at the cost of harming people as well too. I mean, that's just not something that I personally believe in. I think that you should always just try to leave people better than how you found them. And that's always going to be the core of living that life, maximized for pleasure and minimizing, the negativity and the bad experiences. That's my purpose personally.
Love it, man. Love it. Love it. Witch Doctor, what do you got for us, homie? What is your purpose, Witch Doctor?
To help people in some kind of way, just by sharing the knowledge that I gather. I'm unorthodox, unorganized, and everything else like that that describes the same vibes. But I think I have a want to try to help anybody that is in, having a bad time, whether it be the country they live in and not having certain resources. When I was in Iraq, I was a CA guy, civil affairs dude. Y'all can watch movies like Sandcastle or Three Kings to get an idea of what civil affairs guys are kind of like. We help people. We give out soccer balls, water bottles. We try to build the country back up when then there's been a bunch of war there, or when we've bombed the shit out of places, honestly, and stuff. So we're like the peacemakers. We're the ones that try to get schools built, that try to, help rebuild hospitals and stuff. In a professional capacity as a personal trainer, did sales for the fitness industry for the longest time, and eventually got into, doing more of just directly the fitness stuff for money and whatnot, for the financial side of like the house. But I also did security for politicians. I felt like I was always helping people in all of those jobs. People that want to lose weight. I know what that's like, being like obese in high school. I know what it's like having to lose weight so you can join the army and try to get the hell out of that, redneck town I was from or something. Without like college, in case I messed it up, the army, you're good, and from my family, that was kind of normal. So it wasn't like it was asking too much, And so I've helped people in the army, I help people in the personal training world. And now I just try to help people like when people are hurting or they're struggling inside. I kind of talk about that on my show, just like some of the experiences I had. And sometimes we do like, the open mic thing where we'll chat roulette and let people come on. And I think it helps them. I think some people want like a group of friends to kind of belong to, and they don't have a lot. Luckily, thanks to technology, you can kind of live anywhere and you can do stuff like this. And so that's kind of the environment I try to provide, with the topic of religion being kind of a big part of it, just to get the channel started. But, we're all so much more than just the topic of religion, for sure. So, but just to help people. That's all I'm here to do. So.
I think ultimately that's all any of us are here to really do, is to help others. But so I would say my purpose is to clearly defy the broken theology of Abraham and show people that there is another way to perceive the one true creator than that offered by followers of Abraham. I think that's a big part of my purpose. And aside from that, just truth and authenticity are my guiding light in any interaction. I just try to be extremely raw and way too honest I like to use my filter when it tells me not to say something. I'm like, yep, that's what I'm saying. So that's where you get the uncensored, the unhinged, and the unapologetic from. But so now I'm not going to be intentionally, belligerently unhinged, but that's definitely an element of my page, because I want people, when they come here, they don't have to worry about being some kind of way. They can just be themselves. And I do want to have a place where people of different perceptions and perspectives can come together to talk about these controversial and unsafe ideas, because the world doesn't have anything like that right now, and it desperately needs it. Okay, next, let us define idol in relation to how you feel about it, if you accept that construct or not, starting off with Ghostface.
Like idols.
Yeah, like do you believe in the construct of an idol, and what do you see an idol as?
I've been a little bit iffy on idols. It's really something that you would worship over and over, and you'd pay attention to. But yeah, I don't really think too much on idols. I don't.
All right, so you good on idols then?
Yeah, I'm good on them.
Okay, Lisa, any thoughts on idols? For, against, whatever. Just what's your thoughts on idolatry?
I mean, I think an idol is anything we kind of put between ourself, like we put it above ourself, our true self. So it can be like anything, really. Anything you put on a pedestal. It could be a person, it could be a relationship. Like if you have a toxic, family member or something, and you value that relationship more than your peace, sort of thing. It could be money. Like if you're going after something for money instead of because you actually believe in it, it's anything that you're sacrificing yourself for, in my opinion. Um, I was raised a Christian, so it was like, a golden animal that people were bowing to. I mean, a lot of people might consider some of the witchy stuff to be idols too. Like, you know, I don't know, Iris is coming to mind, but it's like you can appreciate things without putting it ahead of yourself and your peace and your goodness. But if it's something that's more important than that, I think that's where you get into
Mm.
it being not beneficial for our being. If that makes
All
sense.
right, awesome. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for your perspective. Joe, do you have any thoughts on idols, just how you relate to that construct, if you agree or don't agree with that construct, anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I agree with Lisa to an extent. I think that idols are just anything, idolatry is anything that governs your thoughts and your actions, right? And for some people, it can be, like a deity. For some people, it can be an addiction. For some people, it can be a person, maybe like a spouse, pornography, drugs, whatever it is. So anything that really governs, like, your thoughts and your actions, I think that that's what an idol is. I don't personally I don't believe that I like participate in idolatry. I think that anything that kind of separates you from, living in alignment with your own what actions and beliefs, what you really want to do, that's what an idol does. It separates you from that. But that's what I think personally.
So something that distracts you from your true path and your true self, you might agree?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely what I
Okay.
think. But Mr. Darklight, dude, I have a couple clients starting in a couple minutes, so
Yes,
I
sir.
have to get going. So I super
All right, well,
super appreciate, man, the love, the support. Letting me come on here and hang out with you guys for a bit and
thank you,
really
sir.
have a fun discussion, man. So guys, anyone watching the live stream, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. So the Dark Light Delirium, super appreciate you guys, for giving me a warm welcome to the podcast, man. And dude, setting high frequency vibrations to you guys. And I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your Sunday and that something good happens to you guys today.
Awesome.
man.
Thank you
Have a
for
good one.
coming on, Joe. I appreciate you, sir. Thank you for giving me all the time you could, man. You have a great day. All right.
Thanks, you guys too. And you too, Witch Doctor. Appreciate your insight, man. Really knowledgeable guy. And guys, make sure you check out his channel and all of his projects. And I really appreciate you guys for your time today.
All right.
Dude,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Joe. You stay sexy. Later, bro.
I didn't mean to cut him off as he said later. I do apologize,
Oh,
Screen Master.
Thank you for coming on, Joe. What do you got for us on this one, Witch Doctor? Idol. Your relationship to
idols.
it. Your relationship to it.
It's funny. I had idols, and then you learn more about them later as you get older. And then I think now I don't really have idols. I think now all I really idol is like a version of myself better than the one I am right now. And I can see it in my brain. And I've used that a lot, like getting through stupid show preps and shit. Like on the stair climber, you're like, oh my God, you got to have some kind of motivation. You're just thinking about that freaking trophy, blah, 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 blah. Dumb, stupid beauty pageant stuff. But yeah, so I had idols, like when I was young and I wanted to be an actor, like I was obsessed with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Not that he's a good actor at all, but it's just my house, that's Terminator, fucking all of it. And then, guys like Ronnie Coleman and like I'm overseas. It's funny. I never really had like any army idols because my dad was like the 2nd Ranger Battalion, badass dude. So like he was like the pinnacle of anything in the military for me. And so I was cool with that. So just on like my hobbies and personal life, I guess I idolize a lot of artists. Going to a school of the arts in middle school for a handful of years. You learn a lot about different artists. You learn the Van Gogh, all the things that we've all heard. You see Family Guy skits on this stuff now. And so I haven't really idolized much, I guess, in a while. Just a better version of me. That's whatever that is what I'm striving to be like. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I still got like favorite actors and stuff, like, man, I wish I could be like Brad Pitt for a day, see what that life's like, the whole, what he does for a living and stuff, or, whatever. Just anybody, bodybuilders who are popular now, I still kind of give them the respect of looking up to the hard work and they made it to the top, and being somebody that might motivate like young guys to maybe just act like good dudes. I grew up with a lot of like fuckhead friends, so I know how to not really act like the best dude in the world, but just guys that motivate you to, like Mike O'Hearn, for as corny as it is, Titan from American Gladiator. What the fuck? He was an extra in The Birdcage. He kind of goes about the fitness thing like, do good in school, be good at football. Like he's just motivating the young dudes type of stuff. He doesn't talk about steroids and all the toxic shit that, everybody does in that world. So he's a guy that I think, people could like look up to. But as far as like idolizing them, is like worshiping them, man, I'm probably too damn narcissistic to worship anybody. So,
I hear you, brother.
You know what I mean? Like just as a joke. Like
I know exactly what you mean,
I'm
but
the
not
king
as a
of my
joke.
world, as a joke. I'm very chill.
Yeah, I got 75% narcissism, and the other 25% is compassion and empathy. But there's that 75% in there where I don't feel bad for loving myself. I don't know. That's the thing these days where people feel bad for loving yourselves, and that ain't me. So I'm gonna talk about idols a little bit. I don't believe in the construct of idolatry, because if the one true creator is a perfect creator, then every single quanta or facet of creation is just as divine as the source from which it came, and therefore the construct of idolatry and idols is meaningless, because okay, well, the only way it would have meaning is if there was no actual one true creator. So to me, the constructs are mutually exclusive. And but if I were to define idols, I would say anything besides our divine sovereignty on which one relies for divine revelation or connection. And under that definition, the Bibles of the followers of Abraham are absolutely idols, because I asked my Jewish friend at Ava Torah Judaism to define idolatry for me under the Jewish perspective, and he had some very specific stuff. Pretty much any kind of carved thing that was concave and not convex. It was very specific, but it also very conveniently left out their holy books. So I really thought about it, and I came up with a great definition that includes their holy books, because I do see their holy books as idols, because they say this is the only true word of God right here. This is where your divine connection is right here, pointing to that book, but not to yourself. And you got to look to yourself first for that divine connection, our divine sovereignty, which is our inseparable connection to the one true creator. So that's my spiel on
I have to
idolatry.
agree. Some of those preachers and pastors make the funniest like YouTube clips. Like, you know what I mean? So that's the joy I do get out of them when it comes
Yeah.
to that, you know.
Oh no, yeah, I watch religious stuff, probably the majority of the time that I'm looking up stuff on YouTube, and it's kind of like a compulsion. I'm trying to study more about them, does anyone else have anything else on idolatry?
Yeah.
All right, let's move into the spirit world. I will go ahead and give my definition, which is um, the spirit world is just all the energies that we can't perceive readily. So under that definition, the spirit world is undeniable, because we are constantly flooded by all kinds of imperceptible energies, be it radio waves, electromagnetic waves, different light spectrums that our eyes don't pick up. So under that definition of spirit world, it is absolutely scientifically verifiable under how I described it right there. But what is y'all's take on the spirit world, starting with Ghostface?
I see it as a astral realm with different layers to it. Like you've got the third dimension, you've got the fourth dimension, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, lower and higher. And you've got beings that are able to just go from different points of the layers and descend and ascend. And so I would see like spiritual entities do exist. Like normal spirits, nature spirits, yokai deities as well. With certain exceptions of what is a deity and not, like considering the bastard that Christianity likes to worship and the Abrahamic faiths like to worship. That is a lesser being than us and doesn't want us to know that. But anyway, everything is always mingling within these realms, but we're also interconnected with it. That's why you have people with these gifts to see into the future, people that can heal using Reiki and all this sorts of stuff.
Love it. I love it. I like that. Lisa, what do you think
Yeah,
of the spirit world?
I definitely believe in it. I know it's all energy. Our normal senses, sight, hearing, can pick up, what we can see and hear and feel and touch. But there are, the fifth dimension is the spirit realm, and I believe in angels and fairies and all of that. I do Reiki, and I believe in that. It's like the spirit kind of channels through you. You connect to the white light, and it is I mean, it's not you're doing something specific. You just trust that what is meant to come and go and happen will. Spirit guides, I believe in. I'm really into like numerology, and not that that's necessarily spirit, but I think it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
Um, and I believe too, like they've got people that can like, whenever they're looking for a ghost or whatever, like they can measure the frequencies of it being different, or if somebody's having like a spiritual, if they're on, the mushrooms or whatever and have their brain hooked up, there's like measurements that things are happening. So I
Yep.
believe that there is like actual proof as well. I don't believe in like demons and negative entities. I think that that is more like it's just pain and trauma that's trapped in the body, and it gets called a demon. But I do believe in spirits and spirit guides. I don't think that they're ever like bad. Like I think that if there's one bothering you, you have the full like power to, like, if you tell it to leave, it has to leave.
Absolutely.
Like, so it's not like they can control you. They're kind of there to help guide, and like they're beings of love and a different frequency that's much higher than what most can sense.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Witch Doctor, what are your thoughts on the spirit world? How do you define it? Oh, your mic is out, Witch Doctor.
All right, we're good. Sorry. Oh my God, I was getting the page up and I wasn't looking at it. All right, so I just to piggyback off of demon. Demon is a malevolent supernatural entity. Historically, belief in demons or stories about demons occurs in folklore, mythology, religion, and literature. These beliefs are reflected in media, including comics, fiction, film, television, video games. Belief in demons probably goes back to the Paleolithic age, stemming from humanity's fear of the unknown, the strange, and the horrific. The ancient Near Eastern religions and the Abrahamic religions, including early Judaism. I'm not going to go ahead. I'm not going to read this whole page, obviously, but
Yeah.
here we have a bronze statue of the Assyro-Babylonian demon Pazuzu. I thought it was kind of interesting to take a look at that just because it was mentioned. But what was the question again, bro? Sorry.
I'll just define the spirit world and what you think about it in general.
The spirit
does it exist? Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's there's something there. I don't know if I think everybody kind of has their own impression of what spiritualism would be. It's higher than religion on a metaphysical hierarchy. So you have like religion at like number 3, and underneath that you have agnosticism or some kind of, yeah, there's something out there,
Yeah.
And then you have like atheism underneath that, where you're like, nope, nothing, we're just a bag of bones.
Okay.
And so above that, above religion, is spiritualism, where you believe that there is a spiritual, like a spirit within us, and it connects us into the universe, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And not to make it sound funny in any way, that's just how I describe it. And so at the very top above that, just according to these different metaphysics, like guys like Ken Theoria, Apophysis and stuff, you have absolute truth above that, where my whole spiel on entheogens lets people actually see or feel that, because it's hard to describe it and put it into words. And I think it's hard to even describe spiritual or the spirit realm, because if you haven't ever felt it, like imagine like an atheist guy who hasn't felt entheogens before, and you you just haven't felt it yet, and you can. But only if you really need it. If you're struggling, if you're fine, then there's no need for whatever. You're fine. If you're cool with your beliefs, then you're not. But if you're having a hard time with it, and you got a lot of traumas and stuff, you know, which I agree with, the traumas being demons, if you will, like, you know, manifesting through you, or the lowest form of the physical self, the lowest form of the ego. That's the whole walking with Satan in the garden. It's actually not a separate entity in those old Greek Bibles. It's the lowest, it's the little devil on your shoulder, but it's still you. And that's, I think, where religions kind of, they start to make, where is it? Demonology by King James I. The average Christian doesn't even know that this exists. And so when you pull it off the bookshelf and you give it to them like a golden grenade or golden apple, they're like, oh, what? And then the whole psyop thing of making like the boogeyman coming to get you, I think that's, you know, kind of something that we created. But there is another realm. I think there's lighter and darker lights there. I've kind of gone into both of those realms when I was in there. You kind of have to look at everything, and then you still don't even feel satisfied. But I have gotten to a point now where I haven't had them for forever. You know, it's been over a year and some change probably. And before that, a big gap too. And instead of it being all the time, like when I was first kind of discovering them. But there's something in that spiritual world for sure.
I think it's a good possibility that everything exists at the same time and place simultaneously, and that the darkness is actually the stargate to all the other dimensions. That's a little theory I've been working on, but that kind of caps off the spirit world topic, and that brings us into one of my favorite topics, which is paradox and contradiction. And I got some proofs here. I don't know. I should probably just kind of lay these down real quick to set the stage for it. So I say paradox and contradiction saturates all creation. Darkness created light to distill everything within nothing. There are multiple scientific disciplines which have articulated aspects of paradox and contradiction, being Gödel's incompleteness theorems established by Austrian logician Kurt Gödel in 1931. There are two fundamental results in mathematical logic that reveal inherent limitations of formal systems capable of arithmetic. The first incompleteness theorem states, for any consistent formal system that is rich enough to express basic arithmetic, there exist statements within the system that are true but cannot be proven true within that statement. And these tie in very closely to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, where the more you know about one quality is the less you can know about another quality. So no consistent formal system can be both complete, which is able to prove all true statements, and consistent, which is free of contradiction. So we use math as like the universal language that points to all things, yet within math, there is built-in paradox and contradiction. So the second incompleteness theorem is a consistent formal system that can express basic arithmetic cannot demonstrate its own consistency. The consistent formal system cannot prove, using its own rules, that it will never lead to contradictions, which really, the second theorem just kind of sounds like a restating of the first theorem to me. And so real quick, we're going to move into the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So in 1927, Werner Heisenberg formulated the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, which is a fundamental concept in quantum mechanics, which states that it is impossible to simultaneously know both the exact position and momentum of a particle with absolute precision. The more accurately one of these properties is known, the less accurate the other can be determined. The Heisenberg uncertainty principle highlights the inherent limitations of measurement at the quantum scale, not due to imperfections in measurement equipment, but because of the particle wave duality inherent in quantum physics. So it is my assertion that all reality is built upon paradox and contradiction. And I get a lot of pushback on that from a lot of people, but I wanted to pass that subject around the council and see what you guys thought, starting with Ghostface. Ghostface, what is your personal connection to paradox and contradiction? Do you think that they have anything to do with creation? Ghostface?
I think everything is always intertwined, and I don't think there would be any room for paradox and contradiction. But I think when you compare past to present to future, as long as you see that line there will be contradiction between events that happen.
Is that all you have on paradox and contradiction?
Yeah, unfortunately. I'm not
No, it's
fully
okay.
versed
I'll
in
just
that.
get everyone's thoughts. Lisa, what do you got for paradox and contradiction?
To me, paradox, they've been really helpful. I I find that there's very few absolute truths in general. So the paradoxes help me dissolve illusions. And so, for example, like I have, I had trust issues, um, and thought that I couldn't trust myself, trust anybody, trust anything, trust the universe, whatever. So, like, I cannot trust anything. But that in of itself, I can trust that I can't trust. So then I can trust something. So, and that's happened in any way that I'm not really in alignment. I can find that paradox and then realize that, hey, I can trust. If I can trust that I can't trust, then I can
Yeah.
trust. Like, I just swapped the story to what I would prefer. So for me, it's like, I mean, paradoxes are real, but I think it's because we're surrounded by all these illusions. But it's like something that helps me unravel it to see through the illusions. Because I mean, really, the
Okay.
only true things are, and there aren't paradox with the truth. Like, the truth is the truth, but there's not a lot
Mhm.
of truth like that you can just know and prove. Like, if that makes sense. I don't know.
I
Okay,
agree.
I was just checking your perception on it. Thank you very much, Lisa. Witch Doctor, what do you think about paradox, contradiction, and their role in creation?
I mean, that's what they brought. I think, let's see. I got something here. So let's take a look. Paradoxical. You have to spend money to make money. That's a paradoxical statement used by people in business. And it seems to say two opposite things that contradict each other. But if you think about it, it's actually kind of true. I can't tell you how many times in my life that situations like this have happened. Maybe they were all supposed to happen. Maybe they were. I can't change what I'm experiencing in this reality, though. So I have, I don't know, we go through this revelation of learning. It starts with Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy, and you learn that those aren't real. And you learn that your government flew planes into buildings and shit. And you're like, oh my God, like, not to be Mr. Whatever, but you know, that they knew it was going to happen. They might have funded people that were involved, blah, blah, blah. They didn't have their direct fingerprints on it, but yeah. And we see how stupid we are as people. And I'm just like, it just kind of makes me not expect too much. Things might contradict each other, but I think like that positive energy that was mentioned before, keeping that positive energy every day. You know, I know what it's like to burn the candle from both ends. You know, starving yourself and doing cardio. Oh my God, it's just
Yeah.
it's. I feel like I'm
No,
doing
I've
too
been
much,
there.
and
Yeah.
it's conflicting. You know, which it can be, and you can start going the other way. You know, like me and Dane, we were talking about other things like that earlier. But with creation, you know, I did a deep dive on creation, and what we did was just to kind of pull the topic as we go. We took a look at some of the African creation myths, I don't know. Creation seems very anthropological to me at the moment still, but there is a
Yeah.
book like The Return of the God Hypothesis that makes you think that there is some sort of intelligent design there that's not just like a software algorithm that just works a certain way. Because that's kind of how the universe sort of feels and everything that we go through. There's
Yeah.
sort of there's ways things work and there's ways things don't work. Like there's ways that you can have a conversation with somebody. There's certain directions with these forks in the road that if you keep taking the right road, you can walk yourself right through the conversation and make everything end well and conduct yourself in a way that's very positive and productive and blah, blah, blah. Or there's the I don't give a shit option. And so I feel like as long as you're contributing positivity, like we were saying earlier, or like our boy was saying earlier, I think that's really all that matters. As far as creation,
Yeah.
I can't tell you. All the religions are wrong with the stories, but we have the stories, and there are stories. Sometimes I've said things like, atheists are so pissed that Christianity is part of our history, and they're so mad they can't erase it. And you have to just accept it and go with the flow. Grandma ain't gonna change her mind. I want her to die happy. Shit. So even though something like my whole channel, man, they would faint if they, oh man.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we take a look at. Interesting. So yeah, anyway, that's all I really got. I'm super talkative right now. I guess I'm super tired. So I'm
Cool,
fighting
bro.
through
Cool.
it.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Witch Doctor. I appreciate it. Hey, Witch Doctor, can you go to my short section and scroll down the shorts? I'm going to pull up the Age of Information versus the Age of Perception video, and then we're going to talk about that real quick. And as you're scrolling down, it's going to be over halfway past, and I'm going to be out in like a snowstorm pretty much, and it's the only video right there. I can help you pick it out if you pull it up. But it should stay right on there, the Age of Perception.
The Age of Perception. I'll be able to find it. I'm just getting the page pulled
Okay,
up.
okay.
It's a short.
Yeah, it's a short. And where I got that from was Andrew Bustamante. He was talking about this is the age of information. And I started thinking about it, and I'm like, information is completely useless without the perception. So really, we're past the age of information already, and we are into the age of perception.
So help me find it. Up or down?
You're going to be scrolling down, or go the other way. Yeah, there you go. Keep going. Keep going. No, keep going down. No, you went back the other way. Go down.
You want me to go down? Okay, cool.
Yeah, go down.
There's a slight delay. So
Okay.
I feel like a weatherman.
Going this way, that way, forwards, backwards, up and down, over the deep blue sea.
So, dude.
Okay, keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
Okay.
going. Yep, keep going. Keep going.
Your hair.
All right,
so
keep
long.
going. We're getting there. Keep going. All right, hold up right there. There's somewhere right there. Just scroll back a little bit. Yeah, scroll back a little bit more.
Age of Perception.
All right, right there. And yes, the one we're in the snow right there.
It's not just the information age, it is the perception age. It is the perception of a sentient singularity, which formulates, observes, and either chooses to validate it with their conscious awareness or not, which gives that information value. The value of information is on a scale which is relative directly to the perception of a sentient singularity only. Information is valueless unless empowered by the conscious awareness of a sentient singularity. Value only comes from the sentient singularity observing the information, of which we all are. Perception directs the consciousness of a sentient singularity. Perception is the jewel of consciousness. Perception is consciousness in motion. That motion perpetuates the continuum of the light stream. I am the dark light. Step into Dane's world. It's not just the information age. It is.
All right, so I just had a little video that just happened to pontificate that subject right there. So starting with Ghostface, what do you think about the age of information versus the age of perception?
I think that they are intermingled. The idea of an age of information and an age of perception, because for one to receive the information, one must be able to perceive that information, right? And so you're
Yes.
seeing more and becoming more aware of these things. So it is the age of information, but it is also the age of perception, seeing all that is and understanding the truth that is within and around us.
I like that. I like that. Thank you. Lisa, do you have any thoughts about the age of information versus the age of perception?
Yeah, I feel like if they were separate, which I also agree that everything is connected, right? So there's not separate, but if you were to separate them, to me, I see the age of information being more like black and white. Like, this is the information and you have to do this with it, or and it's always the same. It's this or that, duality or whatever. And the age of perception is very gray. Like, perceptions, everybody has one. They're all different based on past experiences and whatnot. And everybody's perception is actually their reality. Um, and a lot of people don't like it when I say that, but like,
No, I like it.
Oh well.
perception,
I do
it
as
is
well.
your reality. So,
Whoops.
and you may not like what somebody else is perceiving, but it is still their reality. So, I mean, perception is very, very gray. Like, it's different for everyone. And to truly know somebody else's perception, I don't think is even possible. You can try and explain it, but to know it all, you can only know yours.
Yeah.
But I definitely think we're moving more into accepting that as truth, because I mean, it used to be that we all had to think a certain way, and if you don't, you get exiled, you know?
Or murdered.
And some places still are
Yeah,
that
or
way,
murdered.
but yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah.
Thank you
So
very much, Lisa.
the
I appreciate it.
information, yeah.
Oh shit,
The delay.
are you still going? My bad.
No, I'm done.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. Do you have any thoughts on the age of information versus the age of perception, witch doctor?
I like the description of black and white because I sort of see like one half of my life like that too, where it's
Huh.
like, yeah, like before. And then it wasn't like it was bad. It was just black and white. It was very like,
Yeah.
this is how you think, this is how you talk, this is how you are. And that algorithm's supposed to work, And there was things about it that I don't think were really that great later, different personality characteristics and stuff about whatever algorithm I chose to be like. I don't, everyone's different. They got their own equation.
Yeah.
And, I always wondered, like, is everybody born with the same program? And then from birth forward, besides maybe some inherited personality stuff from parents or whatever, I was like, I wonder if everyone's born with the same potential to be like anybody else, but surroundings. I wondered if that might make, kids ADD or whatever, because I totally am. And so I was wondering if like everybody's sort of born with the same slate, and then it's just our experiences that make them different. I think a lot of people can do the stuff that I did, and I think it could be part of their reality. And if they wanted it to be, I do think there's some manifesting. You just go out and make certain things happen that you want to have happen. And then there's things that people aren't serious about. So they don't ever go make it happen. And that's fine. Whatever it is, it doesn't, who cares? Everybody they have their own algorithm for what's going to make them happy. And as long as everybody's happy, that's cool. But you definitely want to respect, you never know where someone's come from. I know a lot of friends that have had a rougher past than I did, I had an awesome childhood. I am so fortunate. And I'm just being transparent. It's like I don't get to
Yeah.
bitch about nothing. I don't get to
Yeah.
complain about anything. In Iraq, neither. No. You know, I'm from subdivision, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, my dad was a military officer, and then he got out, he did sales. So like we weren't doing terrible. But then we felt poor as shit when we had our farm. Oh my God, those horses and stuff are so expensive. So there goes anything of that. But you know, then move out to some like redneck town from nowhere. I think you got to realize that, you know, you're not really special, but you are special in your own ways to certain people and in your own way, right? But just not being too egotistical, not too cocky and stuff, which I've been that way in the past for sure. But
Everyone's special, witch doctor.
you gotta respect everybody's past. You never know what that dude you flipped off in traffic went through today. His wife might be bitching at him. You know? It's like, oh man. Like one time this guy was given a ticket to, I was in DC and I did security for the Republican National Committee. I ran the whole fucking security team. Oh,
Yeah.
I was growing cannabis in my apartment and everything. And yeah, I didn't give a shit. So I mean, they don't give a fuck. I mean, they're all like 24-year-old college kids working there, man. They'll do it too.
Yeah.
I remember this guy was putting a ticket on a construction truck, and I went outside and I'm fucking full of steroids, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And I just thought to myself, you know what? I probably don't want this guy's life. He does parking tickets in DC. DC is tough to live in. You know, if you don't love living in the city, it's I would rather go to Iraq during 2007. Yeah.
I'd hate it.
It's just so much traffic and stuff. It's just, I hate that. You know, it's stressful. I try to reduce the stress and stuff if I can.
Exactly.
But anyway, I'm rambling. Go ahead.
All right, cool. So we will go on to our next one, which brings us to morality. Is it relative or objective? And I'm going to define that real quick. So a lot of followers of Abraham will say that they believe in an absolute objective morality, and then they go ahead and base that absolute objective morality on the Ten Commandments or the Bible, which usually culminates in the Ten Commandments. Yet, let's read absolute. That is existing independently and not in relation to other things, not relative or comparative, complete, total, and without limitations or restrictions. So that is you can't be absolute then in relation to morality and followers of Abraham. Then you have objective, which is based on verifiable fact, which that's one definition. Another definition is, something that is outside of the realm of subjectivity. And so I would argue that morality is completely subjective. I'm a 100% moral realist or relativist. And so I'm going to open that up to the panel. Ghostface, how do you feel about morality? Is it objective or is it subjective?
If it were objective, then it would be absolutely obvious of what morality is and what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing and what is ethical. And so we see from history that is entirely subjective, and we evolved our sense of morality and our form of ethics in figuring out, like, okay, you probably shouldn't go around killing people because that is bad. You should probably not steal from other people because that is bad. It puts a discomfort on other people. We evolved to be social creatures to work with each other. And so, what we find moral and to be moral is whatever benefits each other as well as ourselves, that we aren't harming each other on a daily basis.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Ghostface. What do you have any thoughts about morality in relations to objectivity or relativity, Lisa?
This one was a little more difficult for me to wrap my mind around. My initial thought was that it's relative. Um, I go between what it actually is versus what it should be. Like, I think that, there should be, like, harming people should be wrong. And I feel like we all know deep down when we're doing something that's not, I don't want to be like right and wrong, but like it's not in alignment with who we truly are. Um, I think it's definitely changing over time too. So it's relative in that like what may be right or wrong here isn't right or wrong somewhere else or at a different place in time. But I feel like like there are certain things that like you should know the morals, but then it's like, how far do you go with that? Like you have killing to, stealing to like littering to, being disrespectful. So like where would it start and end? But I feel like at the end of the day, at least in my body, I know, when I'm doing something that's not moral or in alignment with who I truly wish to be. I think it's hard because the things that make us act in these ways are really what needs to be addressed, the shadows and the all of that. But yeah, it's a really hard one for me because
Hmm.
like anybody who's being immoral, really they need help. But it's hard to help somebody who doesn't realize that they need help or want help. If they don't want to be moral, then like where you can't do anything. Like you don't have that control. It's up to them.
Well, I think society is intentionally crafted in such a way to promote criminalism, to promote the mindset of being a criminal. That way, you have people running around doing bad things, and that gives all the citizens something to constantly worry about, besides what the elites are doing with their divine sovereignty behind their backs. And
Yeah,
I think if everyone would just stick with treat others the way you want to be treated, we'd all be pretty good. The way I see it is every person
Mhm.
is an alternate me, so I would treat them the same way I would want to be treated. Is kind of where
unless
I'm
you
at
know
on
that.
it. And what do you got
Yeah.
for us on morality, witch doctor?
Oh yeah, definitely want to.
Relative or objective?
I mean, I feel like it's pretty objective. Like, we were gonna talk about like 10 Commandments and stuff. And I'm like, well, I don't think you have to have like a written list that like to clarify whether something's good or bad or whatever. Like thou shalt not kill. Like, I don't know if you have to really be told to not do that to know that it might piss someone off. Like if you shoot someone and their friend's like, yo, what the hell? Like you're gonna be upset, just putting it lightly. And I'm like, yeah, you would never think that that's just like a good idea. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
everyone is here. Like, you know what I mean? Unless like it's somebody doing horrible things that it's something like that. And then that's, I guess that's a whole nother question. But I don't know. I think people know when they're being a shitbird, I think they know. Like, I mean, we all watched Viva La Bam and Jackass and CKY and the Tom Green Show, and we've seen people acting like shitbirds and stuff. There's harmless stuff, and then there's, too far. I think when
Yeah.
you go too far. And if you don't know, then after you see everyone's face or reaction, and you're like, ooh, you pull back a little bit. Like maybe I shouldn't have put that live stream up, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I don't know.
If you don't know, you're about to find out.
Uh,
The Thank you for that, Witch Doctor. Appreciate it, man. So from here, we're gonna get into. Can you bring up the my shorts, and we're gonna do the 10 Commandments for Dogs commercial real quick, and then we're gonna get into the 10 Commandments, and that's gonna give us all about a 3-minute break if anyone's got to run to the bathroom or anything. And yeah, the 10 Commandments for Dogs was inspired by At the Damn Show, which is an atheist channel. And he does polls every day. And one day he had a poll up that said, what would God's commandments for dogs be? And I sat there and thought about it really hard. And I came up with this beautiful list of commandments. Yeah, it's not too far down. Hold on. Go back up. I think we missed it. Go back up. Right there. Yep. Right next to the egg. Yep.
All right. What it is, Daniacs, I channeled Yahweh to pull his commandments for dogs out the ethers, and I'm going to give that to you now, okay? The 10 Commandments for dogs from Yahweh. 1, thou shalt circle, but may not lay, while he both circles and lays comfortably. 2, thou shalt sniff, but may not nibble, while he both sniffs and nibbles comfortably. 3, thou shalt kill any who both circles and lays. 4, thou shalt kill any who both sniffs and nibbles. 5, if thou is seen not killing any who both circle and lay, or who both sniff and nibble, he or she, both young and old, shall surely be killed. 6, he who circles may not lay. 7, he who lays may not circle. 8, he who sniffs may not nibble. 9, he who nibbles may not sniff. 10, the great one is the greatest great one. Any who say otherwise shall surely be killed. So saith the great one, who both circles and lays, who both sniffs and nibbles. Trust me, bro. Trust me. You're welcome, motherfuckers.
All right. Hope you like that, Daniacs. That gets me every time. That cracks me up. And I think I captured the essence of Yahweh perfectly in that commercial right there. So we are going to be getting into the 10 Commandments. I like to work them going backwards because the first 5 of the 10 Commandments are all about you need to suck my dick. You know, figuratively speaking. Figuratively speaking, that's what the first 5 commandments are. I'm so great, you got to suck my dick for this reason. So we're going to work backwards, and then we are going to tell Yahweh that no means no. I don't want to suck it, and these are the reasons why. So let's go through it. Thou shalt not covet. It is number something or other, but so Exodus 25, Yahweh demanding exclusive worship is coveting the free will of all. Okay. Deuteronomy 7:1-2 demands death of Canaan population in order to covet their land. Leviticus 27:30, coveting the best portions. Exodus 13:2, Yahweh covets the firstborn. So these are examples of Yahweh breaking his own commandments right here. And it is my contention that the actual one true creator would lead through example, not through hypocrisy. And my point is to exemplify that Yahweh does nothing but break his own commandments, and the actual one true creator would not do that. The only true laws of God that I recognize are the scientific natural laws, which are immutable in every circumstance that we are aware of currently. So what do you guys think about the commandment, thou shalt not covet? And in relation to Yahweh himself, starting with Ghostface.
don't think it's a bad one. Just like considering that, like, hey, these people own this sort of property, whether it be animals, people, in their case, and land. It's like, yeah, no, it's like that's theirs. They rightfully earned it. You shouldn't go out and try to take it.
Well,
Unlike
that's
if he likes to
to
command.
me that's okay. To me, that's a big because for me the followers of Abraham, that's like the biggest perk, right? Is you just get to go take whatever land you want and say God told me to. It's okay.
It's like,
So
oh,
at
Pretty
least
much.
this guy from Iraq, he came over here, and Yahweh said that this land was ours. So that's y'all have to get out of here now.
yeah. Yeah, and just think how that would go over these days. Like if you walked in someone's house and said, "Yo, man, this is my house now. You know what? God told me so. It's cool. Kick
You go to,
rocks, or I'm gonna kill you."
you go to South Florida. They did it there
That's
too.
actually what's
Yeah, no, I'm
that is
calling the
going on in
fucking
some
shots.
places. Lisa, do you have any thoughts on "Thou shalt not covet" in relation to Yahweh?
Yeah. Like to me, covet is very intertwined with like jealousy. Um, and that's really just you wanting something that you don't have. Um, which you could have if you were to, align your actions towards getting whatever that may be. It's also really intertwined with attachment and like ownership of things, which is identifying with things, which is ego. So really and truly, I think the truth is that none of us, we came here with nothing, we leave here with nothing. Like nothing is really ours. We might own a car or a land or whatever, but it's nothing is ours, nothing is anyone's, and everything is all of ours at the same time. So, and you can really see in the Bible too, where it happens all the time. Jealousy is very prevalent, coveting is very prevalent, especially in today's society. But if we could get to a place where we all realized that, nothing material or anything we think that we have or own other than our, soul, really that's the only thing that is ours. So to like let go of all those attachments to anything being, and like what you need always comes. So if you don't have it, then you don't need it. But I mean, the Bible, there's all kinds of things in there. I mean, the first commandment, thou shalt not have any other God before me, is kind of
We're
like
gonna
he's
get to it.
jealous saying that, like
Yeah,
he's so, yeah, I mean, it's very contradictory whenever you get into religion. There's a lot of coveting going on that they say you shouldn't do, but do. But I do agree that, if you find yourself coveting or jealous or like not to be ashamed of that, but to look at it, put some light there and say, hey, what is it that I really want or need? And then, go after that instead of what somebody else. But I mean, it's not really theirs either. So I don't know. It's everything is kind of confusing in my head with that one, but yeah.
yeah. All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Lisa. I appreciate your perspective. Witch Doctor, do you have any thoughts on coveting in relation to Yahweh?
So, just being funny how I always do. Here
Yep.
we go. Covet. All right. To yearn, to possess, or have something. He covets time for exercise and fishing. The Latin word cupiditas. Old French, English. Now we have Middle English. Covet. Um, to desire what belongs to another, inordinately or culpably. For some reason, I keep thinking of the word Cupid. which I guess you could say kind of reminds me of to yearn or want somebody because you've been shot by
Yeah.
Cupid's arrow. Who knows? Who knows? I
Yeah.
need to go dive deeper in it. And Lisa's right. They talk about this in the Bible. In the military, there's different schools and there's different, arguably, tabs and stuff you want to earn. They're coveted accomplishments and coveted flair for your for your uniform. I have 37 pieces of flair. I think having goal. I mean, I have worked really hard to try to earn $15 trophies, but it's the title of winning the blah 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 blah. So I don't know. They've given me things to want to accomplish, like I wanted to go to airborne school. I wanted to, things like that. But I don't think you should really do it with religions because then I don't know, people they become these Christian warriors, like the girl that's I'd have to show you the video, but y'all remember the wife swap video of that really Christian lady, and she was really big. And she did not like being switched with like an astrology house. And she comes home and has a meltdown. And they weren't Christian. Did you not ask if she believed in God? It's so good. She ended up taking the money from the show and getting stomach surgery to help lose some weight and stuff, which I've had clients that dealt with stuff like that. It can be a bitch dealing with stuff like that. It really is tough. But yeah, as long as people aren't quite like that, everything turns into it's all about Jesus all the time, you just kind of
there's plenty of those out there.
With people too well if they think like that, I guess. But yeah, my little take on it, if you will.
I would like to take this opportunity to say that Jesus is a desert war god of hypocrisy. He is not the one true creator. And you Christians, come take that up with me. Come talk to me about it, Christians. Let's talk about it. That's what the Theology Council is all for, is for people with different perspectives to get together and talk about it. And so we will be continuing. If I build it, they will come. They're coming. They're just slow getting here.
If you do it in a way to where they feel like they'll be able to, if you do it in a way to where they'll want to, come on and give their whole thing and go through that whole thing on camera. Yeah, I think they'll come on eventually. But
well, that's the thing. Most platforms out there. Most platforms out there, they will cut you off. They don't let you tell your whole thing. They're just waiting to silence you one way or another. And the Theology Council isn't like that. Everyone gets their full chance to speak on every single subject. And if it needs, we'll take the same subject around the table a couple times, whatever it takes. So let's get into thou shalt not bear false witness, pretty much lying. And I have some examples here of Yahweh and Jesus lying. So Ezekiel 29:10-11, false prophecy of Egypt being barren. Okay. Matthew 16:28, false prophecy of Jesus's return and his life, because he says, surely some of you are here that, he's saying he's going to come back imminently. John 7:8-10, Jesus lies about going to the festival. Jeremiah 34:4-5, false prophecy of King Zedekiah dying in peace. Matthew 24:34, false prophecy about I can't read my handwriting here, but false prophecy, another one. So now when people say Jesus is the truth, and when people say that God knows all things, so the Bible can't possibly be the actual unassailable word of God, or else it would not require the mental gymnastics of future believers to try to make it make sense. It would all be perfectly well written, with no ambiguity, like what we find saturating the Bibles right here. So
Nope.
So thou shalt not bear false witness. For me, the biggest lie that Yahweh has told is that he is the one true creator, and that same criticism can be extended to Jesus and Allah, for me personally. So what do you guys think about that commandment of thou shalt not bear false witness in relation to Yahweh? Starting off with Ghostface.
I think that they're always like lying about what even happens in the Bible. I mean, they call Jesus the Prince of Peace, but Jesus explicitly says like he has come here not to make peace, but to
But to bring
divide.
the sword.
He's come
Yeah.
with a sword, and so you would see that Yahweh breaks his own commandment by lying to these people, and then when these people believe in that lie, they get punished for believing in that lie. Is that just?
That's
Also
entrapment.
to harden people's hearts and to manipulate people like that to interfere in their free will. I mean, I would be really upset if I found out like Yahweh had hardened my heart and made me go away from Christianity, non-denominational, by the way.
Yeah.
And he was gonna punish me for me moving away from Christianity when he was the one who made
Who
me
pushed you away?
move
Yeah.
away from Christianity. Yet also to send a lying spirit as well. And why would you have that commandment and then to go and break it? It's almost as if that these are rules for thee, but not for me sort of situation, because that's how big of an ego this being has. He wants his cock to be sucked. He wants to be penetrated deeply because he only gives a shit about himself.
Yes, and I would like to clarify on that subject that the Christian Yahweh is not the Jewish Yahweh. Okay, the Christians essentially
Hmm.
recreated their own divergent version of Yahweh, and they called it Jesus, and that is a huge blasphemy to the Jews. And so the Jews, Christians like to say that they worship the God of the Jews, and stop them in their tracks whenever they say that. And please let them know that actually they worship a completely different Yahweh. And I didn't know that till I started recently, last couple months, really started studying Judaism, and I absolutely see where the Jews don't like Christians, because the Christians have totally slandered their religion. Because in Judaism, hell is a 12-month cleansing cycle. It is not eternal torture. Okay, in Judaism, Satan is a loyal angel to God. Satan is not a you know a the Lord of the Dark Realm or anything. So those are some major things that Christianity has changed about Judaism right there, and I would absolutely like to point that out for all the people who think that that the Yahweh Hashem is the same as the Yahweh Jesus. They are actually different, and so I just wanted to point that out right there, really quick, for my Jew friends. So uh, which doctor did you go? Where are we at? Whose turn is it? Lisa?
Yes.
Is it Lisa's turn?
Yeah.
Yeah. Ghostface just went. It's
So,
Lisa's turn.
I mean, I really think that lying is a big one. I think the worst lying that gets done is the lying that we lie to ourselves. And I think with religions and the books that come along with religions, like, I think one of the biggest problems that there are is that people take them like word for word into the heart, like absolute. And the thing about all of the books, all of the religions, is that they are perceptions from different people, mostly men from a long time ago. It's also language, which changes over time and is different based on perceptions and where you are. And then the languages have also been translated several times. So to take something that's been manipulated in so many various ways that was originally just a perception of some human, like that was their reality, perhaps. And, you know, who knows if they were trying to manipulate through what they were writing, like instilling fear to create division. It's all like, you know, you can, for me, I look at it, and if it resonates, like, let's take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But to anyone who like says it's absolute truth, and like I just can't see how that can be a thought. Like, it's so external and outside of you and not even real, really. Like, it's just other humans' perceptions. So to take that, and I mean, there's a lot of lies in it, and it's easy to see. Like, one of the first ones, whenever I was going to church, that didn't sit right with me was like, you know, if you're not baptized, you don't go to heaven. So what about and they didn't do like in Catholic where they baptize you, the christening or whatever. It's like you had to make a choice to be baptized in my religion growing up. So what about like all the kids who die, you know, before they're baptized? Like they just, like that, I don't know. I don't know how that's a lie, but it has to be because it can't be true.
Yeah.
But I mean, my whole outlook on heaven is different now too, but it's just whenever you question the things that don't seem true or right in our situation, our times now, like, I don't know, the lies just feed each other. But then we lie to ourselves and say, hey, this is, you know, the absolute truth. We have to go by this. But that's not true to yourself. And I think that's really the most important thing, is to be honest with yourself. And then you can, you know, express that outwardly too. But who
Yeah, no,
knows
I
if
absolutely
these
agree.
people writing the book were being honest with themselves, or, you know? So,
They intentionally wrote it in such a way to manipulate people, and so they're gonna use as many lies as possible to manipulate
Yes.
these people.
Yes, I agree. Absolutely.
absolutely.
And it's sickening.
Yeah, that's the entire intention behind the deception, is to coerce fellow co-creators into relinquishing our divine sovereignty unto the church, unto the state, unto the Bible, unto anything else except for yourself, because they know that once people realize that we are the gods that create our own worlds, um, you know, they're trying to keep a lid on that. They're trying to keep a lid on that hard right there. So they just keep manipulating our perception through these perception manipulation programs, and that is what speaking the truth and getting up and, you know, just standing out and speaking out. That's the whole point of that, is to let the elites know that I'm not using my divine sovereignty to empower your broken system. So, Witch Doctor, what do you think about the thou shalt not bear false witness in relation to Yahweh?
Well, I mean, Yahweh is just the God they're using in these particular line of stories, and it's just piggybacking off of an older line of stories. But you know, Yahweh, I mean, he had a dad and a mom and a wife and all that stuff
Yep.
too, and it's all been morphed and changed over time. But I don't know, man. The in relation to Yahweh, mm,
Or just your take on it in general, you know?
I don't know. I mean, so there's a movie called Sleepers. All right. And it's got a handful of actors that are all younger and they're orphans. And they belong to, I forgot what generation, what decade this was, probably the 90s. And they're orphans at a Catholic school. And Long story short, the prison guards there, one of them is Kevin Bacon. He's not a great character, and neither are the other guards. And so the boys are abused. They grow up. Some of them become successful lawyers and stuff. Like Brad Pitt is one of the characters, and he's a lawyer, right? And then two other guys saw Kevin Bacon in a club or in a bar and shot him dead years later, as grown dudes. So they get with, I think, Dennis Hoffman and the dude that played Rain Man, and Brad Pitt's the other lawyer. And they set this case up in a way to where these guys look very not the ones that were there, right? And then at the end, one of their friends, who's a priest, Robert De Niro, he shows up and testifies and lies that the boys were with him the night that they shot these guys. So I guess that's the only time I can think of, like, just as an example of where would you do that? Would you lie to save your friend from going to jail because correct justice was served?
Absolutely.
The only time where I can kind of be like, he did the right thing, but like in a kind of like a joking Family Guy way, because it's just a movie, and it's like I don't want to think about that in real life. That sucks. But stuff like that, I'm sure, sort of happens in a roundabout way, maybe not the exact identical way.
No, absolutely.
Either way. But yeah, I mean, not supposed to lie.
Yeah. So point of the story pretty much is that sometimes there's a good reason to lie, I think, is what I got out of that, right?
So not to be funny, but like the Jewish religion, Plato has this noble lie thing, right? And it seems like I saw this interview one time where this guy was just talking to a bunch of different Jewish dudes, and they were like, well, I mean, it just depends what the lie is. It came out of the guy's mouth. I don't know. I don't remember the guy's name, but like, it's just, not to make the whole religion like that, but yeah. And so I think some people are going to do it. It just depends what it is. But there's very, very, very few situations where that's going to be okay. Because then you dig this hole if you do it with other stuff, and then, like lying to significant others and stuff like that, you just building a fire to burn, and that's just not good. So.
Well, I think the most important thing is to keep in mind what Lisa said, is just that, not to lie to yourself. As long as you're being honest with yourself, I think that honesty will flow out into your relationships and interactions with other people. And I think the more that you lie to other people is a reflection of how much you lie to yourself. Essentially, is what I'm getting out of it. So we're going to go to number 8, thou shalt not steal. And we got some examples right here of Yahweh stealing and promoting his followers to steal. Exodus 3:21-22 commands followers to steal from Egyptians on their way out. Deuteronomy 6:10-11 commands followers to kill and steal all of Canaan, to take their land, their houses, and their belongings. So that's coveting, stealing, and killing all in one. Joshua 6:19-21, the plunder of Jericho, commands followers to kill and steal all of Jericho. Numbers 31, 9-11, plunder of Midian, commands followers to kill, steal, and rape all of Midian. So clearly Yahweh approves of theft. And so we're going to Ghostface. What are your thoughts on theft in relation to Abrahamic religion and your own life?
Yeah, I don't think that you should be stealing to begin with, because that's a loss of property. But of course, Yahweh gets the pass here when, like, oh, I command you to break the rules, then it's totally fine because I said so. Which I think just falls in line with what we've previously said with all of the genocide that happens, all of the taking of property, like hey, God said I have this that this property is mine, therefore it is mine, and You can whine and complain about it, but God has the ultimate authority here.
Yeah, what they like to say is that God can do whatever He wants, and the thing about that is that goes back to it's not about the power to do a thing or not. It's about the reasoning behind it, and
Mhm.
God, the actual one true creator, is the primordial source of intellect and wisdom. And if He is a perfect creator, He knows that His creations will be just as intelligent and wise as Him, and so He would know to not break His own commandments. Just like even a good father tries to lead by example. Okay, and we're talking about the best father ever here. And
Mhm.
so, what do you have? What are your thoughts on this, Lisa?
I mean, stealing, the first thing that comes to my mind is Robin Hood. Like, you shouldn't steal, but like sometimes, just like with the lying, in a certain circumstance, there's gray areas.
I agree
And then
with
I
that.
also go back to like attachments and like anything that we think is ours is somehow tied into our identity and ego, which is, in my opinion, part of the lower self. Not that ego is bad or an enemy or anything like that, but like, and it's hard to say because I don't think that people should just go take whatever, but at the same time, what really is ours in the first place? So if, nothing really is ours, it's all an illusion. So they're really stealing. But I mean, it is wrong, like what they do in the Bible, and you see it still today. Um, it's not okay to override the self, I guess. They can't steal you though. So I don't know. But I think like, if there's a bunch of poor people starving and you have food over here, like to get that food to the people that need it, like I don't think that that is necessarily a bad thing, which is different than attacking, Jericho and stealing all of their stuff. Like they're
Yeah.
doing it for two different
Mhm.
reasons. So I think it really depends on like where it's coming from. Like, is it coming from, but then again, nothing is really ours. So if somebody did steal from you, did they really take what was yours or what you identify as yours?
Ooh, good question. So I would like to say on this subject that possession is 9/10 of the law. Just ask the law; that they will tell you that. So if you look at it through that
Yeah.
frame, as long as you have something, it is then yours. And if someone else wants it more and they then take that thing from you, it is then theirs. But it was never anyone's to begin with. Just certain people had possession of it at certain times. Now I do have some Viking in me, y'all. So if I really really had to, I might take something, and I might not, you know, I might not miss no sleep about it if I really had to. Now, of course, I prefer not to take anything. I prefer to do everything just right. Let me tell you a little story. I used to steal candy bars when I was a kid. And last year, I was caught in Walmart stealing a candy bar. I was broke as fuck. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go in for a little candy bar just like old time's sake. And it was pretty humiliating getting called out as an almost 40-year-old man for stealing a candy bar. So I don't care so much about candy bars anymore. I just don't. But that was just a funny little life story that I sprinkled in there for y'all. So, Witch Doctor, what do you got for us on the "Thou shalt not steal" commandment?
I got arrested when I was really young for stealing. When I was in high school. So there was this Food Lion, and they had the cigarettes on like a revolving thing, like outside the customer service desk. So I had like a basket, and we did it so many times. And then one day, my brother or my friend's brother was working, And he just paid attention to me more than anybody else ever would, And he watched me walk into the aisles, and then he's just sitting there at the desk for a little while, and then I go walking out the door, and he chased me out there, and I was like, shit. I had to pick up trash on the side of the road and stuff to get the stuff to go away or whatever. But yeah, you shouldn't steal. Yeah, the thing about the commandments, man, is that I can only see an early civilization needing something like this really spelled out for them.
Yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
I think Aladdin, you steal the bread, he's going to chop your hand off or whatever. But yeah, you don't want to steal people's shit. Now, if there's, if it's some brilliant, hotel, Ocean's 11 stealing the casino's money type of thing, I might want to watch a movie on that, but I'm not saying you should really do that. But yeah, that's all I got.
So you got a little Viking in you too. All right. I'm cool with that.
Oh yeah, I'm British or English,
You got some British Viking in you then.
The Danish.
Hey, so we're gonna go.
Yeah. Anyway.
We're gonna go on to "Thou shalt not commit adultery," and once again, I have verses which prove that Yahweh approves of adultery. So we are Genesis 16:1-4. Abraham is adulterous with his wife's slave, which Yahweh approves of. We have 2 Samuel 12:7-8. David engages in polygamy and covets other men's wives and land. This is adultery and coveting and is approved by Yahweh. Hosea 1:2. Yahweh commands Hosea to marry an adulterous prostitute. Kings 11:1-3. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 side hoes. So clearly Yahweh approves of adultery. So now I know we don't have any Christians or we don't have a bunch of pushback going on. So it'll be more fun when we got more contention going on with these subjects. But let's go ahead and start with Ghostface. What is your take on adultery, Ghostface?
I mean, yeah, I completely get the idea of no to adultery. I get the whole idea of just being with your partner and sticking with them unless you two have decided that you want to be in a open relationship. But yeah, if you've made that commitment with with marriage and you've got the legal documents, you are bound to that person, and you've made a promise to not break that promise, to be together.
Hello. Okay. All right. Sorry, I had to let my dog out. My dog was barking. Lisa, we're taking that to you on the adultery deal.
So, adultery, I mean, I feel like there's a major double standard with it. Like, all the people you just mentioned were men, being approved to adulter. And I feel like even in today's society, that is it's kind of not normal or expected, but it's bad if a man is adultering versus a woman. I do think it's wrong, but
Your
I
charger is
also
on.
have I understand how it happens. Again, it's thoughts, emotions, and experiences that are driving these decisions that may or may not be right. I don't know if right and wrong is a way to do it either. But yeah, in the Bible and all the religious books, they definitely do it. And you have I don't even know what's in Utah where they have all the wives. So
Mormonism.
yeah, and even with that, it's the man having all the wives. You don't really see a woman having many husbands. But yeah, I think I don't know. It's wrong at the core, but also like in reality, when you're living it, like I see how it happens. I understand, uh, and it could be not necessarily, even though it's wrong, it's also right in some ways. Um, so it's not like an absolute wrong all the time. Of course, if you're committed, and you've done vows, then you should be true to that. But sometimes in those vows, there could be loopholes. So it depends. It's all like language too,
I think as long
language,
as
word.
honesty, then you're starting off on the good foot. Me personally, I'm on about 10 true love. I got tired of fake ass love, and I'm the only one out there. Thou shalt not commit adultery.
You're breaking up pretty bad, bud. I think it might be trying to either catch up or you might have a weak signal at the moment with your Wi-Fi.
Oh, shit. Which doctor we got on the adultery?
Hey, real quick, bro, just to let everybody know, I got about 30 minutes left, and then I'm going to have to hop off and go do all the adult things in my life. But I appreciate everybody being here for sure. Let's go ahead and take on another topic or two and have some open discussion before I got to bounce.
Okay, cool. All right. So is there anyone in the chat that wants to come talk a little bit?
I can drop the link. Oh yeah, your phone might be.
Yeah. So we'll keep going, and if there's anyone in the chat that wants to join, so let me see here. Let's to my bonus subject because this one's a lot of fun. This one's kind of in the air about the whole Mandela effect thing, and then Aktua happened. Okay, so in the world that I came from, a bitch does not get famous by spitting. Okay, the world that I came from, a bitch gets famous by swallowing. And here I'm famous as hell for spitting. Okay, and that's how I know for 100% effect that I'm in a totally different dimension where I started off as. Take on the Mandela case.
Hey, real quick, man, just so you know, your mic's having a really tough time, all right? But we do have somebody out of the chat here.
Ooh.
You see?
Is my mic fucked?
Your mic is extremely choppy. Sometimes it's hard to understand what you're saying. And the mic's coming through okay. Am I coming through okay?
Yes,
Yeah, you are.
Great.
Okay.
What's your name?
Hillary.
Good to meet you. Did you have anything you wanted on the topics already? But were anyone that really stood out to you that wanted to touch on?
Just some of the things that Lisa said, I think she was in the right direction. Some of the specifics, I was a little bit off. Like about the coveting, I agree. It's not good to covet, but the whole thing about private property is an extension of personal autonomy. Because if I steal the fruits of your labor, I'm basically making you my slave and saying you need to work, but I'll benefit from it. And so that's the direction it could go. I didn't know if she wanted to respond or not.
All right. Uh, all right. I think is my mic still fucking up, or
It's very choppy. It's either your phone's too hot, you need to turn off the video so that it can put more processing power toward the audio or something. Yeah. Is your
call
phone
this
plugged in?
episode short, because I can't have fucked up audio. Uh, live, and it's fine, but every now and then it starts cutting out on me. All these other topics later, I get into any of the culture stuff. I got culture,
Yeah, I just
sports,
want to say thanks to everybody for tuning
and
in.
politics.
I know Dane's having a hard time with his microphone, but I just want to say thank you guys for coming and watching, contributing, all that good stuff. This is like the third episode where he's gone live and everything, and I think we had a much better discussion actually this time than the first few episodes we did. Dane, I think I saw an improvement with everything. We'll talk more and whatnot, but I'm going to go ahead and peace out. And if everybody, you want to go Ghostface, Lisa, Hillary's emails, and then Dane say goodbye, I'll take care of it in the back room. Okay.
All right.
Peace, guys.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Thank all my guys for showing up. I am the brightest night. I am the darkest light, and I am ascending, stepping it up. I appreciate it. I'm gonna be improving. I'm making improvements, and then I'm got messed up. And we're gonna get the Theology Council going. Christians, the Jews, the Muslims, the Saints, the Native Americans. I'm trying to get these controversial, and the more we talk about it, is the less people have to suffer and die over these subjects. So I appreciate everyone. I am here to unite, not to divide. And thank you for stepping in Dane's world. I appreciate y'all.
All right, cool. So I'm going to do him a favor, and just so that he can end it with some good, obviously everybody watching will just back out and go watch a new video now. If they make it this far, we got 2 hours and 41 minutes. Ghostface, what you want to say to everybody?
I mean, I don't even know what I would want to say to everybody.
Thanks for stopping by. I'm just
Yeah,
Let's
no
take a
problem.
funny sign off.
Yeah, it was nice to be in my third ever live stream. For the full length. Well, this would be my second live stream that I've been in like full length. Been a part of like the conversation. I definitely love to talk about a lot of these subjects. As well as go into like more philosophical type stuff, into like what is the universe, how does it function, so yeah, thank you guys for having me here.
Yeah, for sure. It's awesome. Miss Lisa.
I really appreciate this opportunity, and I really, really enjoy talking about all of this stuff. It's my first ever live, so if I seem like I'm nervous, that is why. I am very nervous.
For sure.
But yeah, I really appreciate just like talking about it, because the the truth will set you free, and I think it's important to share it, not necessarily try and change anything or anyone, but just like I think people know when they hear something that's true, and that's how change happens. So it's not necessarily like, wanting to make change happen, but just speaking truth and watching what happens when that divine light is sparked in people, and it won't happen if we're not talking about it. So
The gnosis.
yeah.
Just well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sure he'd love to have you back on too for the next, whatever we do. But yeah, I appreciate it. So we'll see you soon.
All right.
See you. All right, the man of the hour. What's going
Okay.
on?
Just what I wrote there. I host panel discussions about many different topics. Um, and
Hillary's
yeah,
emails.
yeah, it's 1615 is the number at the end of it, is my channel.
Boom. All right, so guys, check it out. I got this share screen. 1 second. Here we go. Boom. Freaking.
I love it.
Oh yeah, totally. Okay, you've been doing a lot. 2 months ago, you had live stream here or an upload of some kind, open topic, open panel. What's on your mind? Shoot, yeah, we should put it. We should do a show on yours if you ever want to.
Yeah,
You know what I
that'd be
mean?
great.
There's a way to do it. It's just, there's a way to do it the way I did with Marcel's channel, to where I don't have to actually like log into your stuff. I got to figure out how to do that again, and it can, then we can have this without the little logo and whatnot. But yeah, man, for sure. I subscribe. Everybody else go check him out.
Okay, if you hit the bell, you get notifications. Otherwise, you won't.
That's a good point. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. We'll have you on again. What we'll do is next time is if you hit me up at witchdoctorchristianity@gmail.com, I'll have your shit. And so when we have the link, I can just send it to you like before we do chat roulette stuff. And
Okay.
you sound like you'd have a lot of contribution. The way you talk and stuff's good. So, that would be great to have you back on again.
Okay, I'm sending it right now. Witch Doctor Christianity.
Yeah. It's a book that I wrote. I wrote this book. I didn't publish it because I still had some chapters I wanted to iron out. So I made a YouTube channel to do that, and it's been like 5 months, and I'm getting a lot of answers because a lot of people are contributing to the research now. So it's like awesome, different stuff, all kinds of different material. But yeah, we'll definitely have you on again. I'll shoot you the link next time. And other than that, man, anything you want to say before I let you go?
Nope, that's it. Have a great day.
Yeah, have a good one. All right, y'all. So we out of here, off to go be adults as best we can. But thank you, everybody that stopped by. If you made it all the way to the end, hooray, 1 gold star. And I really appreciate it. Dana appreciates it. I'm trying to help him get everything up and running. So we've been using one of my platforms and stuff. But things are good. And we'll do another episode in a few weeks. So peace.